title, My 28-year-old son landed in the ER. The doctor said, "You've got 24 hours to save your kid. He needs a kidney transplant. Only you can save him." But when they ran a DNA test, when the doctor said I had 24 hours to save my son, I didn't hesitate. I told him to take whatever he needed, my blood, my kidney, my life if he had to. Then he came back with a different kind of death sentence. He asked me to step outside the room. His face had that look doctors wear when they've seen too many endings. He cleared his throat, glanced down at the file, and said quietly, "Sir, your DNA doesn't match your son's." I froze. He hesitated, then added, "Or your other two kids." For a second, the hallway tilted. The fluorescent lights flickered above me, and I could hear the beeping of monitors in the distance. A steady reminder that time was running out for a boy I apparently had no biological claim to. And then, as if that wasn't enough to crush a man, the doctor whispered, "There's one more thing. Your wife has requested a paternity test on you, too." That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake. This was a setup. I met Clara 29 years ago. She was light, all warmth and laughter, the kind of woman who could make you forget the noise of the world. I built my life around her. When she smiled, I saw home. When she cried, I held her like the earth holds rain. We built a family together, 3 beautiful kids. I worked 2 jobs for years, sacrificed sleep and dreams to build that perfect little picture. The house, the vacations, the birthdays with matching t-shirts. Every photo was a promise. Every promise, it turns out, was a lie. Looking back now, there were cracks. Times when she'd be working late, trips with her college friends, the way she'd go quiet when certain names came up. But love blinds you. You see what you want to see, until the truth rips the blindfold off and leaves you bleeding. That night, I sat by the hospital window and watched the city breathe. Below me, life went on, horns blaring, lights flickering, people rushing home. Inside me, something broke, and something colder took its place. I didn't confront her right away. No, I waited, because I wanted the truth, not from her lips, but from proof. I started with the small things, bank statements, old phone bills. I dug through 20 years of our life like an archaeologist in a graveyard. Patterns appeared, private transfers, unexplained withdrawals, trips she said were business but were charged to hotels I'd never heard of. Then I hired someone, a private investigator, a quiet man who didn't ask questions, just delivered answers. Within 2 weeks, he gave me what I needed. Pictures. Clara, my wife, with another man. The same man she worked with for 15 years. The same man who had been our family friend. He was the real father of all 3 kids. I remember sitting in the dark with those photos on the table, the only light coming from the lamp above me. I studied them like evidence in a case, not just to confirm the betrayal, but to understand how deep it went. And it went all the way down to the bones. She didn't just cheat. She built her entire life on my name, my effort, my love. And when our son fell sick, she was ready to let me die trying to save a child who wasn't even mine. I realized something that night. Revenge isn't about rage. It's about control. And I had all the time in the world to plan. First, I changed my will. Quietly, legally, irreversibly. Then I started transferring assets, slowly, carefully. Everything I'd built, everything she depended on, rerouted. The house went into a trust under my late father's name. The savings moved offshore. The investments liquidated. She didn't notice. She was too busy playing the worried wife, sitting beside the hospital bed, squeezing my hand, whispering, "We'll get through this." I almost laughed. I let her believe it, because the best revenge is patience. When the DNA reports came in, I didn't hide them. I printed copies, one for each child, one for her, one for me. I sealed them in envelopes and waited until the day my son was stable enough to leave the hospital. That evening, I called them all into the living room. She thought it was about the medical bills. I told her it was about the truth. I handed her the envelope first, then the kids. Silence filled the room as paper tore and reality shattered. My eldest looked up first, confused, hurt, Dad? I couldn't even answer, I just nodded. Yes, I'm not your biological father. Clara's face went pale. She stammered something about a mistake, lab errors, it's not what it looks like. But I'd heard those lines before, in movies, in lies, in nightmares. I slid the divorce papers across the table, already signed. She reached for me, crying, begging. I didn't flinch. 28 years, I said quietly. That's how long I lived your lie. Now you'll live mine. Over the next few months, everything fell apart for her. The house? Gone. The accounts? Empty. The job? Her affair partner's wife found out after an anonymous email I sent attaching those same pictures. Both were fired. The kids? They stayed with me, not because of blood, but because truth had a strange way of rewriting loyalty. They hated her for the lies. They saw who she really was. She tried to fight in court, but the lawyers she could afford were no match for mine. And when the judge asked why she committed paternity fraud for decades, she broke down. The world saw her for what she was, not a mother, not a wife, but a con artist in pearls. It's been 2 years now. My son recovered. He doesn't need my kidney anymore, though he says I gave him something better, honesty. We're rebuilding, slowly, differently. Sometimes I still see her in town. She looks smaller now, like the air's been sucked out of her. She avoids my eyes. I don't blame her, because she knows. Every breath she takes now is borrowed from the life she stole, and I took back. They say revenge doesn't heal. Maybe they're right, but it does balance the scales. And as I sit here tonight, looking at the quiet house, mine still, I realize something. Love made me weak. Betrayal made me dangerous. And revenge made me free.